Time to check out Swla, see how she's doing.
So yeah, Brian has decided that Swla is a female. Now, I have an idea of why he's done this, and that's because Swla kind of sounds like Twyla.
Oh, it does.
Which was a character from Schitt's Creek. Super cute waitress.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's why he's decided that this is a female. And I'm cool with that.
Or Shyla or something like that. Sure. It sounds like a woman's name.
Yeah.
It sounds like a cute woman's name.
Yeah.
Even though, how did parents know that their kid's going to be cute when they name them those names? You have to wonder.
There is a lot of theories about naming conventions and what a name
You think the name
means.
determines your cuteness or the cuteness determines your name?
I don't know.
I don't know. Further research. It's wet again.
I tried to drain it. I'm sorry.
There's little like nooks and crannies in this that hold the liquid from Turbos, which is the red bucket of sanitization, and it's over there and it has sanitizer liquid in it. And when you soak this in it, these little nooks and crannies absorb it and hold it, and then I pick it up and it spills all over me. So what you don't see is my lap is totally wet right now. But anyway, by the way, we are now calling this Mega Maid. In case you did not know already, it's formerly called the Todd. Why Mega Maid? Well, if you don't know, you won't understand. But if you know, you know. Trying to keep it G, folks. I believe that was from a PG, but it's okay. So, in case you forgot, Swla stands for stuff we had lying around. Okay, that's exactly how this got its name. It's literally the pantry Velcro of wines. This one was blackcurrant concentrate, black cherry plum juice, and Lalvin D47 yeast. To me, there's a lot of stuff in there to work with for the yeast, so I'm not all that concerned. I think it'll be fine. Can you add other stuff to help it along if you want to? Sure.
Yeah, flutage.
Yeah, I know. I just want to get there.
Nope.
Whoops.
Oopsie-daisy.
This smells really good. Like, I kind of want to have a taste.
The color is very grape.
It really is. It is currently... Get it to a more level point here. Give it a spin if there's some bubbles on there. A good spin if you need to. And then shake it off if the bubbles stick to it anyway.
Bubbles are the hydrometer reading person's nemesis.
1.018. So I don't think this is finished yet. So I'm not going to take a taste yet because there's not much point. So today is 9/21/21 and we are at 1.018. What am I going to do with this? I'm going to pour this back in really, really carefully so as to not over oxidize or anything like that. Don't want to splash. Just want to pour down the side just like that. Nice and gentle. Now, some people will just drink it. Some people will dump it, which I don't understand. What's the point in homebrew if you're going to waste 100 ml at a time every time you take a reading? And I'm going to put the airlock and bung back on. And what I want to do now, because there could be a little bit of oxygen in here, okay? It's not a huge deal, all right? It's not something to be totally crazy obsessed over, but there could be a little bit of oxygen in here. And now that there is some alcohol and there is some air, well, acetobacters could be activated. Not something we really want. So I'm just going to give it one of these. Just a little bit of a swirl. Notice the airlock going nuts. That is carbon dioxide coming out of solution, pushing all that oxygen and air out because it is heavier than the oxygen and air. So it's going to sit on the bottom. And just to be really sure, let's give it some more. It doesn't hurt to do this, by the way. It's going to still produce more CO2 as it ferments more. And it's actually helpful because that's essentially a waste product for the yeast. And, nobody likes swimming in their own poop. So, we like to get rid of that, clean it up a little bit. And that way they don't have as much to swim in, making it a little bit easier for them to get that last bit of points gone, those last 18 points. Do I expect this to go fully dry? Not necessarily. I know that a lot of fruits and concentrates and things may have some amount of unfermentable sugars. Very hard to know how much. Could be 2 points, could be 10 points. Very, very difficult to say.
part of our leftovers was also a commercially made concentrate that was intended to brew wine. So I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that that had some built-in sweeteners to give you some residual sweetness after fermentation.
We'll see you in probably another week, maybe 2 weeks, when we take another reading and see how it's doing. So it's been 8 days. It was 1.018. Let's find out what it is today. So we got Mega Maid and the Herculometer here to do the measurement thing. Now, there's a lot of ways to take your sample, okay? You can use like a turkey baster, you can use a wine thief, you can, I don't know, use a syringe like we're doing. I like the syringe. It seems to have the least amount of wastage and dripping all over the place. It does kind of require 4 hands though, or 3 at least. So if you happen to have 3 hands, it's great. If you only have 2, well, let me see if I can do it with just 2. Probably. Just get it into the liquid and activate. If you know the movie, you know what's going through my head right now. And then once you get to this point, this is where it gets a little bit tricky to do with one person, because if I don't hold this right, I could knock it over, and there's no way to push this down because you kind of need both hands. So yeah, this is where you need a 3rd hand. Or, you know, put it between your legs, do the old crotch trick. I've done that for bottling. It works. Don't laugh. It works. The seals start to get a little sticky after a while. Once I get that in there and you make sure that it's floating, it's just ever so slightly floating. Now I spin it around a little bit, get the bubbles off. And let's see. 1.014. Okay. At this point, you got to make a judgment call.
Well, it only went from 1.018 to 1.014.
Yep, in 8 days.
That's a very, very small amount.
However, we're only at day 29 of total fermentation. So it's kind of a... Could we call this one finished? Yeah. Could we also just put it away for another few days and take another reading and be absolutely safe and sure? That's probably the smart play. Now, this is where I normally say, that's what you should do, but I'm not going to do that. But today, we're actually going to do the smart play because, well, I don't want to be giving bad habits and bad advice. So let me get a glass because this smells really good.
It does.
And we're going to take a little taste of this. Just a little one. The rest of this. Some people dump this out. We are not some people. Don't be some people. Make sure everything's sanitized. And then you can do this. You can also just drink it. You know, that is certainly an option. I am pouring it down the side really, really carefully. That way I'm not adding extra oxygen. And I have a little trick to show you for when we put the bung back in, which, you know what, let's just put the bung and airlock on it now before we even do the taste.
Okay.
Keep them in suspense. Now, why am I bothering to put the bung and airlock back in at this point and not just waiting a little bit? Well, because air. You know, we just don't want to get any more air in here than is necessary. But remember that trick I told you I was going to do? It's called the swirl method. We did a video on it, but it's really simple. You just do that, and look at that airlock going nuts. We did not degas. There's plenty of CO2 in here. Just forced all the oxygen. Well, yeah, you don't want to overdo that because it spills. And, you know, now my lap is a little bit moist. But the point is, when you do that, first, you're degassing the brew a little bit, which is helpful. Second, that CO2 is heavier than oxygen, and it just forces all the air out. So anything that might have been introduced, it's gone now.
Bye-bye.
Swla is smelling good.
You know what this reminds me of?
The sweet red wine.
Yeah.
Or the black currant wine, actually.
Both of them.
Well, it is black currant concentrate and black cherry plum.
Black cherry plum, yeah.
But there's no grape. This doesn't have the grape. So this is kind of a...
But we know that most fruit blends have grape in them, even if the label doesn't
and apple.
say so. Yeah.
And chokeberry. Aronia berry.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that smells good. Oh my God. That is really good. See, further proof that you can basically make a pretty decent homemade wine using most juices and concentrates. It's pretty simple to do. But I'm just going to give this one more swirl and not have it go all over the place. Now, it is possible this is going to go a little bit more. I don't think it's going to go much more, maybe a couple points. It might even be close to being done. So doing that little bit of a swirl there will help. And I might even do that for another day or two, let it all settle out. Then we'll take another reading in like a week.
And why would that swirl help?
Well, because what may happen is right now, all the yeast are swimming in all their own poop, which is basically the alcohol and the CO2. And some of them have fallen into the lees. So what happens is they're swimming in their own waste, okay? And nobody really likes to do that. So if you eliminate some of that, maybe they can work a little bit more because there are still some sugars in here. Now, is it possible there's some unfermentable sugars? Absolutely. And that can happen in almost any brew. Once you get down to those, really low numbers, like 1.014, it's debatable whether it's going to get to 1.000 ever, or even below that.
And because part of this mixture was the black currant concentrate
wine base
that was made specifically for wine, there is a high possibility that
But they don't say that in the ingredients.
Purposely added. Yeah.
It's possible, but they don't say it. It's hard to say. But anyway, let's figure out what our ABV is at this point. Why not, right? Because it's probably close to being done.
So we use D47, which is a...
Like 15%?
Yeah.
14, 15%?
In that range. Because remember, yeast can't read.
Right. We don't use D47 a lot either anymore, so I forget. And we used it because it was what we had lying around, kind of like the other two ingredients in the wine. That's thus the name. Stuff we had lying around, wine, Swla, get it? Yeah. Anyway. So we started with a 1.110 gravity, and today it is 1.014. So that leaves us with 0.096 times 135, my coefficient of choice, and we have 12.96% alcohol. Okay, it's still not quite at the limit of the yeast, so I think it's really wise to let it go another week. And we went over this in a video where we talked about, is it done or is it stalled? This may not be done. I don't really know yet, so it's better to give it a little bit more time.
And because our readings weren't exactly the same number, we know at least some sort of activity has occurred. So the possibility that some sort of activity may continue to occur is there.
Yeah. So, better safe than sorry. No need to rush it. It's only going to taste better with time, and it'll still be here in a week. It's all good. So this is going to go back on the shelf of fermentation, or the fermentation station, or whatever you want to call it. And we'll see you then.
Take a note.
All right, so it's been 9 more days, and we're going to check this again because it was 1.018, then 1.014. But, it's using Lalvin D47 yeast. I have my notes over here now. And that means it could go a little bit further. So we want to make sure that this is actually finished before we rack it, taste it, bottle it, all that good stuff. So let's get started. Okay, so the trick when you're doing this is you want to make sure that once you pull your sample and you get it in there, you have enough that your hydrometer floats. Because if it's not floating, you're not getting an accurate reading. It's just really simple, but you'd be surprised. I've had people ask me. So, and I don't believe in stupid questions. If you had the guts to ask, it's okay. All right, so this is at 1.014, which means it's done, which means it's stable, which means we can rack it and let it sit for a little while longer. But first, we need to get some stuff together. We're going to rack it into a pitcher first to get rid of all this extra sediment, and then we're going to put it right back into this container. A lot of people ask that question. Now, we may not put it right back into this container, but another one very much like it, because there's stuff in here that needs to get washed out, and, we're filming videos, and I know we got extras. But a lot of people do ask that. So you can just rack this to a pitcher of some sort that holds all the liquid, and then wash this guy out, and then put everything right back in. A lot of people ask that all the time. Okay, so we racked it to our pitcher. Now this pitcher has a nice graduated numbers on the side there. And looking at this, we're sitting at right around 124, 123 ounces. So when you think about it, it's 128 ounces to a US gallon. We didn't lose very much at all. And now what we're going to do is we're going to rack, I lied. We're going to rack to a wide mouth 1 gallon, which you can do it to the narrow one or the wide one. It's okay. Neither one will have too much headroom because this is so close to a full gallon. Not a big deal. I just, Derica found one of these first, and it's just as easy. So we're going to get out the auto siphon again. We're going to do the rack. So now that we finished racking it, we want to put the airlock and lid back on, just like Derica just did. And for those of you curious, yes, we could have just racked right into this container. Not a problem at all. I had actually intended to put it back into the first fermenter, and then when I saw how much stuff was stuck in the neck, I said, well, yeah, I think we're going to use a different fermenter. So, things change on the fly, people. There's no script here. We're just kind of, doing it as it happens. But this is going to get the note put back on. I'm going to put a note on it that we racked it and that it's at 1.014. I actually really can't wait. We're going to give this probably a week, maybe 5 days to a week, and then we will actually bottle it because it's already cleared. Like, I was able to see the lees in the bottom. Notice I said lees, not lease. Apparently that's the correct pronunciation. I was able to see the lees in the bottom of the fermenter, so we knew it was clear already. Pretty awesome stuff. So there you go. See you in a week. So it's been 11 days. Guess what? It's time to put this in a bottle. But first, we want to do our final rack. Now, not everybody does this final rack, and it's not absolutely necessary. I like to do it, especially with really dark things that I can't really see the bottom, and I don't want to, pick it up and be looking underneath it, trying to fish around to find it. That being
said, we did try to do that. It looks like there might be a little bit of wispies. We really can't tell. Better safe than sorry, so we're going to go ahead and do our second racking.
Also, putting it into this pitcher lets you see how much you have, so you know how many bottles you need. It's a little helpful, that kind of thing. I'm leaving the cap on just in case there's a little bit of wispy lees in the bottom of this bottle. That way it doesn't end up in our pitcher, which will then end up in our bottles, which will make our bottles cloudy and not as nice looking as they should be. Now, racking is just the act of moving the liquid from one vessel to another vessel, this one over here. You want one higher than the other. We have a full video on this. That's why we're not going to get into too much detail on racking itself. All right, so it looks like we ended up with 116 ounces. There was just a tiny bit of wispy, like Derica called it slimy, but it's not really slime. It's just like that really wispy lees, and we didn't really want that in our final brew, so that's going to go away. And we lost, just a tiny little bit. But anyway, so we're going to break this down into bottles now, and we'll see you in a few minutes after we bottle.
So we ended up with one full 1 liter,
750 ml, which is 3/4 of a liter.
And this guy.
This is like to here.
Yeah.
This one, because it's only half full, if you end up doing this at home, you want to put this one in the fridge, okay? We are not, because
we're going to consume it.
Yes, because right after we do the bottling videos, we also do a tasting video, which you'll see in a couple of days, but we're going to go drink this now. But hey, if you like this video, look up. There's another one up there. You might like that one too.